17 Incredible Facts About Lebanon, a mysterious land the world overlooked. Number 17. Greeting each other with 3 kisses. In many countries, a handshake is enough to start a meeting. In France, it's 2 kisses. In Japan, people don't even touch. But in Lebanon, that's just not enough. Lebanese people greet each other with 3 kisses on the cheek, in the order left, right, left. Some scholars believe the number 3 comes from Christian tradition and the Holy Trinity. But in daily life, it has a simpler meaning. 2 kisses show friendliness, and the third is for someone truly important. Longtime friends, family, or people reuniting after years apart often exchange 3 quick kisses, sometimes even 4 or 5 if emotions run high. Lebanese men also kiss other men on the cheek, naturally and without any romantic meaning. It's a sign of respect and closeness. Women kiss each other all the time, and men will kiss women if they know each other well. In Beirut, 3 kisses are almost an unwritten rule. In the mountains, it's sometimes just 2. Sunni Muslims usually start with 2. But if they give you a 3rd kiss, congratulations, you've officially become their close friend. But don't get the wrong idea, anyone can't just rush up and kiss a Lebanese person on the cheek. This culture has subtle rules. Always lean to the left first. Wait for the other person to turn their face, then touch cheeks. At formal meetings, they shake hands first, then kiss. If you're still shy about kisses, you can also greet Lebanese people with a quick shoulder hug or just say, Ahla. They're extremely friendly. But there's one thing you should avoid. Don't refuse a kiss if you're already acquainted, or they might think you're keeping your distance. So, what do you think? If you come to Beirut and someone approaches, would you dare to offer your cheek for these legendary 3 kisses? Or would you panic like 90% of first-time visitors? Comment and let me know. Number 16. The world's busiest refugee house, a sad Guinness record. While international media constantly talks about Ukrainian refugees, there's another crisis that's almost silent: Lebanon, the country with the highest refugee rate per capita in the world. Over 1/3 of its population, nearly 2 million people, are not Lebanese citizens. That's 1.5 million Syrians, 500,000 Palestinians, and tens of thousands from Iraq, Sudan, Ethiopia, and more. All have come to a country just about 4,000 square miles, once called the Paris of the Middle East. But unlike Jordan or Turkey, Lebanon doesn't build large-scale refugee camps. Instead, refugees have to set up makeshift tents everywhere. On Beirut's sidewalks, on farmers' land, in valleys, along highways, and in poor neighborhoods so bleak, the press calls them shadow cities. In Bekaa and Akkar, it's even harsher. 8 out of 10 people you meet are Syrian refugees. And Bekaa now hosts around 700,000 refugees, more than the population of Iceland. Native Lebanese have become a minority in their own land. Lebanon also doesn't allow refugees to build permanent homes. Tents can only be made of wood and plastic tarps. If anyone builds a brick wall, it's torn down immediately. And because hundreds of thousands of tents are on private land, if a landowner changes their mind, an entire camp can be forced to move within 48 hours. In winter, snow covers the tents, and rain soaks into freezing blankets. In summer, the dry heat makes clean water a luxury. No citizenship, no passport, no legal right to work. Yet millions of refugees still try to blend in and live with locals, even though over 50% of Lebanese live below the poverty line. Both communities' lives are dragged down by economic crisis, power shortages, rising prices, and a nearly paralyzed government. In this situation, UNHCR, UNICEF, UNRWA, and hundreds of NGOs race every day to provide aid. Ironically, before 2019, a refugee family could receive $27 per person per month, while many Lebanese workers earned only $120 to $150 a month. But here's a fact the world rarely mentions. Despite poverty, instability, and exhaustion, Lebanon has never closed its borders to Syrians during all the years of war. They've kept their doors open, welcoming those fleeing bombs and violence. However, what you might not know is that while refugees pour into Lebanon, Lebanese people are leaving. 4 to 5 million Lebanese live abroad, more than the population inside the country. This diaspora includes famous names like Carlos Slim, the Mexican billionaire who was once the world's richest man, Salma Hayek, the Hollywood actress, Shakira, the global superstar, and Nicholas Hayek, the founder of the Swatch watch empire. What do you think about the lives of refugees coming to Lebanon? And why do they choose Lebanon instead of other neighboring countries? If you want to know the answer, comment 2 below and we'll share it with you. Number 15. Strong women living in a conservative society. According to many global beauty rankings, Lebanon is always among the countries with the most beautiful women in the world. And that's no exaggeration. This land has a long history, thousands of years of cultural exchange, and women with a unique beauty in the Arab community. Fair skin, deep blue or brown eyes, and a confident aura that turns heads. The gentle Mediterranean sun, pleasant climate, and close-to-nature lifestyle make their beauty stand out even more. But in Lebanon, beauty is not just a gift, it can become an obsession. The demand for cosmetic surgery is so high that Lebanon ranks near the top globally. Nose jobs, chin lifts, eyelid surgery. They're as normal as getting a haircut every month. Some clinics even advertise 12-month payment plan, 0% interest. In Beirut, a city of gentle contrasts, you'll easily see a woman in a stylish leather jacket, oversized sunglasses, bright red nails, and a Louis Vuitton bag on her shoulder. But just a few streets away, you'll find girls in elegant hijabs, running bookstores, coffee shops, or chatting in 3 languages, Arabic, French, and English, as if they were born to live in a multicultural world. Lebanese women's beauty isn't just about glowing skin, deep black eyes, or shiny hair. It's also in their artistic sense of style. No wonder many world-famous fashion designers, from Elie Saab to Zuhair Murad, are Lebanese. However, in a society with 18 legally recognized religious communities and no unified civil laws for marriage, divorce, or inheritance, women still face many limits, especially in rural areas or conservative communities. Basic rights like passing citizenship to their children or equal rights in divorce are still ongoing struggles. Even so, Lebanese women stand out in the Middle East. They're doctors, engineers, politicians, artists, social activists, and resilient mothers. They step forward not because they're allowed, but because they know their worth. Many Lebanese proudly say, "Women here aren't just beautiful, they're dangerously impressive." What do you think about these women who are not only beautiful but also strong? They're definitely someone you could date or even marry. Want to know more about them or a few tips to win them over? Comment 4 below, and we'll share more details with you. Number 14. Lebanon has an island just for lovers. About 3 to 4 miles off the coast of Tripoli in the Mediterranean Sea, Rabbit Island sounds cute, but the stories tied to it are endlessly intriguing. It's the largest island in the Palm Islands Nature Reserve, a UNESCO site, but what makes it famous isn't its ecosystem or blue waters. It's a nickname passed down for decades, the Lover's Island. From the 1980s to the early 2000s, when Lebanon was still heavily influenced by conservative communities, couples whose families disapproved of their love would come here for a breath of freedom. After a short ride on a local fisherman's boat, they'd step onto a wild paradise, no nosy neighbors, no judging eyes, just white sand, clear water, and total privacy. A Tripoli local once joked, "Want to love without being caught? Go to the island. Even the fish keep your secrets." And interestingly, even though Lebanese society is more open now, the tradition of island dates still exists. Rabbit Island also has its own strange legends. European archaeologists in the 19th and 20th centuries wrote about ruins that hinted at Phoenician rituals, and locals say the island was once a place for fertility blessings in ancient times. While there's no official proof, these stories make the island a place where visitors come not just to swim, but to feel a bit of Mediterranean magic. The island's name has its own tale. In the early 20th century, the French released rabbits here as a food source, and they multiplied all over the island. When the reserve was established, authorities had to remove many rabbits to save the ecosystem. Today, some rabbits still remain, like living history, hopping among the rocks. What makes Rabbit Island special? is that it's completely uninhabited. No hotels, no restaurants, no electricity, no fresh water. Just blue sea, nesting sea turtles, and such quiet you can hear the wind. So, it's a spot for picnics, swimming, and escaping society for couples seeking privacy. Although UNESCO bans overnight stays, locals say that in summer, some couples secretly stay until morning, turning the island into a true love oasis. Number 13. Lebanon dumps a mountain of trash into the Mediterranean. Right next to Beirut, the city once called the Paris of the Middle East, lies one of the most shocking sights in the Mediterranean. Borj Hamoud, a giant trash mountain, 130 to 165 feet high, about a 12 to 15-story building, stretching over 150 acres, almost as big as 85 football fields put together. Lebanese people call it the Mountain of Shame. This dump started in the 1970s, and for over 40 years, it grew like a monster no one could control. The crisis exploded in 2015 to 2016, when Lebanon's garbage collection system completely collapsed. 3,000 tons of trash per day, the weight of 6 Airbus A380 aircraft, had nowhere to go. Trash piled up like mountains, spilling into the streets, until a horrifying decision was made. Dump it straight into the Mediterranean. This isn't a rumor. Cameras from Al Jazeera, AP, and The Guardian filmed trucks tipping garbage directly into the sea, while car-sized chunks slid down the slope. Some officials even suggested dumping more to expand the landfill. Outrage erupted across Lebanon and internationally. The result is an environmental disaster lasting decades. In summer, Beirut's seawater turns murky. Fishermen have to row out 3 to 6 miles to cast their nets because nearshore fish are contaminated. Environmental experts call Borj Hamoud the worst ecological disaster in the Mediterranean in the 21st century. In desperation, from 2016 to 2018, locals burned the trash mountain several times, creating toxic clouds so big they covered Beirut's sky, leaving neighborhoods in daily black smoke. In 2019, the government announced the landfill's closure, but the truth is, they just covered millions of tons of trash with a thin layer of soil, no waterproofing, no leachate treatment, no methane collection, and the saddest part, a new dump was built just a few hundred yards away. People call this the recycling of failure. Worse, according to MedPol, each storm season, a large part of the trash mountain slides into the sea, carrying plastic, glass, medical needles, metal, drifting from Beirut to Tripoli. EU and UN projects to move the dump, build treatment plants, and restore the coast have all stalled due to corruption and financial crisis. From 2022 to 2024, reports confirm leachate is flowing into the Mediterranean by the hour, containing microplastics, heavy metals, hydrocarbons, and cancer-causing bacteria. Some seawater samples near Beirut have microplastic levels 3 to 5 times the allowed limit, making Lebanon one of the world's worst coastal plastic polluters per mile of shoreline. Number 12. Ghobeiry, the vintage car junkyard. In the southern suburbs of Beirut, Ghobeiry is known not only as one of the city's most crowded and complex neighborhoods, but also for a rusty treasure trove car lovers call the vintage car junkyard. This isn't a fancy car museum with shiny floors and signs. It's a lot full of old, broken, and once glorious cars now sitting under the sun, weeds, and dust. Here, you might spot Mercedes-Benz W123 models, Peugeot 504 cars, or Volkswagen Beetles from the 1960s and 1970s, with peeling paint, broken windows, and sometimes trees growing through the hoods. To most people, it's just a pile of scrap metal. But for collectors, it's a gold mine of parts, where you can hunt for original door handles, wheels, or logos from brands that stopped making cars decades ago. What's interesting is that this unofficial junkyard works like a secret market. No signs, no set hours, but everyone in the know finds their way. Some come just to find a wooden steering wheel for a Peugeot 504 restoration. Others buy an entire rusted Mercedes shell just to cut out the grille for an art project. Number 11. laughter yoga classes in Lebanon. It might sound like an internet joke, but it's real. Lebanon actually has classes that teach people how to laugh. Yes, laugh. And Lebanese people call it by its meditative name, laughter yoga. The idea started in India, but in Lebanon, it's become a real social phenomenon. People walk in with tense faces and walk out with sore abs from laughing. The fun part is, you don't need to know yoga, and you don't need to tell Steve Martin-style jokes. The instructor only asks for one thing: fake laugh until you really laugh. Classes always start with a few deep breaths, a few awkward ha-ha-has, but after a few minutes, the whole room erupts into a chorus of laughter. Many say they laugh so hard they cry, their hearts race, and their minds feel light like they just binge-watched the whole first season of The Office. A laughter yoga session lasts about 45 minutes. You can find them in parks, offices, community centers, even in the middle of bank conference rooms. One famous story is Lebanese coach Sabine Jeezy getting 96 employees at Audi Bank to burst out laughing during work. Imagine, a whole room of serious bankers in suits, all laughing like stocks just tripled. It's a kind of spiritual investment, even more fun than buying Bitcoin at its lowest price. Many Lebanese believe laughter is the fastest way to break life's stress, from traffic jams and inflation to heavy meetings. And true to Lebanese style, if life gets too stressful, they don't run away. They organize a class to laugh in stress's face. What do you think? If you had the chance, would you try a group laughter session like this? Comment below, maybe one haha could brighten your day. Number 10. Daily power outages. In many countries, people only think about blackouts during big storms or system failures. But in Lebanon, power cuts aren't a disaster, they're a daily routine. Lebanese people joke, government electricity is like a guest it visits for a few hours, then disappears. In reality, the state only provides 4 to 12 hours of electricity a day, depending on the area. In poorer regions, it can be just 2 to 3 hours. When state power goes out, people rely on a parallel system that's existed for over 30 years. The generator mafia. Private groups own huge generators, set up in residential areas, and sell electricity by the month, like paying a protection fee for power. Don't pay? They cut your power immediately. In Beirut, the nation's capital, people are used to losing power 3 to 12 hours a day, even in hospitals and malls. Many families have to buy private generator cards to buy extra hours of survival. To see how absurd it is, imagine living in a country where every family pays 2 electric bills, but no one actually has enough power. One bill goes to the government, even if you barely use it. The other goes to private generators, where the price can be 4 to 6 times higher than normal rates. Lebanese people say, we pay as much for electricity as Europeans, but use as little as people in the 1980s. For tourists, Lebanon's power system is just inconvenient. If you visit, you'll quickly understand why everyone carries power banks, why hotels advertise 24/7 generators as a luxury, and why people always open windows instead of using AC. Because you never know when the power will go out. In the afternoons, elevators are best avoided. Getting stuck during a blackout could turn your trip into an unforgettable, but not fun, memory. Lebanese people are so used to the power comes and goes rhythm that when the whole neighborhood goes dark at dinner, they just smile, turn on a mini generator, and keep chatting. What surprises tourists most isn't the blackout itself, but how calmly people accept something that seems unthinkable. Number 9. When past and present merge. Few people know that Beirut, Lebanon's capital, has been destroyed 7 times by earthquakes, crusades, bombs, civil war. But every time it falls, Beirut rises even more beautiful, brighter, and prouder. Despite surviving war wounds, this capital still keeps its spirit of art, music, fashion, and philosophy that even the West admires. But amid all this beauty lies a surprisingly normal truth. You can see soldiers with guns, checkpoints, even tanks rolling down the street, and no one is surprised. Beirut is a living museum. Mossy mansions with red-tiled roofs sit next to boulevards where Rolex watches and Arabica coffee scents mingle. In Hamra, you can drink French-style coffee, read Arabic books, see English graffiti calling for freedom, and just steps away, spot a Maronite church and a blue-domed mosque side by side like two chapters of history crossing paths on the same corner. Along the deep blue Mediterranean coast, Beirut, Tyre, and Jounieh are summer paradises, with sunbathing, water sports, and fresh seafood right at the docks. But amid the sunshine and blue sea, you also see a more realistic Beirut. Generators roaring on rooftops, trash sometimes uncollected, and traffic jams so tight it's suffocating. Still, Beirutists walk with crisp shirts, swirling coffee cups, and stories mixing three languages, Arabic, French, English, like an unscripted movie, full of personality and edge. But that's just the surface of Beirut. Every summer, thousands of tourists from the Gulf flock to Lebanon, seeking what they can't have at home: total freedom. When bans, religion, and strict laws keep them in line, Lebanon becomes a pressure valve for pent-up desires. Beirut has over 4,000 bars, one of the world's highest per square mile. Lebanese people have a tradition of living every night to the fullest, turning this small country into a place where Gulf tourists come to break every taboo. Aili, a town 19 miles from Beirut, is a favorite gathering spot. Hind, an 18-year-old Saudi girl, once described her Lebanon vacation as the first time I could breathe. She drove an ATV through the night streets, bright red lipstick, big eyes, behind a sheer veil, things she could never do back home. But most of this underground tourism is for men. And the darkest side is in Maameltine, the red light district 12 miles from Beirut. Here, guests can watch dancers from Belarus, Ukraine, and Romania perform nude. A night of fun can cost up to $1,000. And if you want home service, a contract for several girls can run $5,000 to $6,000 a night. Carlos, the most famous pimp in the area, proudly says, "There's never a shortage of girls. Summer is peak season, as Saudis, Kuwaitis, and Emiratis flood in. Many Iraqi women fleeing war also fall into this cycle. With no money or job skills, they choose the only way to survive." Noura, an Iraqi girl, says her whole family, mother and sister, work at 3 different bars. The price for the girls, $400 to $500, while a first time can be sold for $1,000 to $1,500. The Dar al-Amal organization, House of Hope, is trying to help girls leave the trade, but even they admit the underground industry is growing faster than society can help. Number 8. College students manage a $1 million fund. If you think college students only get to play with fake stocks, Lebanon will blow your mind. At the American University of Beirut, a top-ranked school in the Middle East with over 150 years of history, senior finance majors get to manage a real investment fund worth nearly $1 million. Not virtual money, not a simulation, real money on the United States stock market. AUB's student-managed investment fund runs like a real professional fund. Students do macro analysis, read financial reports, create strategies, pitch to the school's investment board, then make buy-sell decisions on global markets. Everything is audited, documented, and evaluated like a real fund. This isn't a rumor. In 2021, AUB's student fund managers appeared on CNBC Arabia in a special report, showing how they make their own strategies and manage portfolios. In 2022, they were mentioned in Financial Times MENA for reaching the regional finals of the CFA Research Challenge, competing with top US and European schools. For example, in 2019, AUB's student team outperformed the S&P 500 index in the third quarter, and this report was published on AUB's website. Many alumni who joined this fund are now managers at Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, or investment funds in Dubai, Doha, and London. This program is totally real, with real results, and recognized by the regional financial community. The most shocking part is the paradox. In a country drowning in crisis, where the Lebanese pound has lost 98% of its value and banks freeze people's accounts, their students are given millions to manage and invest globally, like real pros. AUB sees this as a way to keep hope alive. If the country isn't working, we'll create a generation that knows how to run the world. So, if your university had a similar policy, what would you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 7. Apartment living in mountain caves, but no photos allowed. If you're used to modern apartment buildings with elevators, security cameras, smart doorbells, and phone-controlled apps, come to Lebanon for a super low-tech lifestyle. Cave apartments. Yes, that's right, in places like the Kadisha Valley or the Chouf Mountains, there are still natural caves that have been real homes for hundreds of years. These prehistoric condos were once shelters for hermit monks, farmers avoiding taxes, or anyone wanting to live simply. Inside, you'll find unique furniture like handmade stone stoves, shelves carved into the rock, dry wells, even ventilation systems chiseled right into the cliff by hand. Some caves are big enough for extended families, so locals jokingly call them deep-level apartments. The inside is musty, chilly, and ancient, making for an adventurous, even romantic, Stone Age-style travel experience. But Lebanon also has another hidden gem, Jada Grotto, a geological wonder once ranked among the top 14 new natural wonders of the world by New 7 Wonders. It has stunning stalactites and stalagmites like an underground cathedral. And the best part, you have to take a boat down an underground river to explore. But the strangest and most unique thing is that Jada bans all photography and filming inside. No flash, no cameras, not even phones. This isn't an annoying copyright rule, but strict science. Strong light can change the ultra-thin microbial layer on the formations. Moisture and heat from devices can affect crystallization. And most importantly, tourists, hunting for the perfect shot, increase the risk of touching fragile structures. Even a light bump can cause permanent damage. So Jada is preserved just as it was for millions of years. No check-ins, no selfies, no social media proof. Real images of the cave barely exist online. Jada is a wonder. You have to see to believe. Number 6. Traffic in Lebanon, where chaos is a survival art. If you're an American used to LA's order, or a European who loves German-style neatness, Beirut's streets will both shock and amuse you. First, parking in Lebanon is an improvisational art. With few parking lots and narrow streets, people often park layered, one car blocking another. But here's the twist. They leave their keys at the nearby cafe, so anyone needing to leave can borrow the key, move the car, and return it. It's a kind of community trust you won't find with security fences or cameras. Imagine blocking a Cadillac in New York, then leaving the key at the Starbucks next door that only happens in Lebanon. Next is the car horn culture, where honking isn't just for warning but for communication. Lebanese people honk to greet, to ask for space, to show they're there, or just because they're annoyed. The traffic soundscape in Beirut is like an improvised symphony, no rhythm, but full of feeling. And if you think red lights make things better, sorry. In Lebanon, many people seem to get temporary color blindness at red lights. Sometimes, red is just a suggestion. And seat belts? Some drivers have been driving for 20 years and still don't know what they're for. Public buses are also unique. No set schedule, no fixed stops. Drivers can change routes instantly if enough passengers want the same destination. It's like a giant Uber, but super cheap. Number 5. The land of ancient empires. At the strategic crossroads between the Mediterranean basin and the Arab world, Lebanon is not just a geographic intersection, but a cultural one. With an area of about 4,000 square miles smaller than Connecticut, Lebanon is the third smallest country in the Middle East, after Bahrain and the Palestinian territories. In this small space, you can ski in the snowy mountains in the morning, then swim in the Mediterranean in the afternoon, two experiences just an hour's drive apart. In the Lebanese mountains, you might even see the rare blood snow phenomenon, where snow turns red-pink from the Chlamydomonas nivalis algae. Surrounded by sandy countries, Lebanon itself has no desert, the only country in the Middle East without sand. This country is also the home of the cedar tree, a sacred species that's thousands of years old, placed right in the center of the Lebanese flag on a white background for peace, with red stripes symbolizing sacrifice. The reason isn't lack of ability, but because the government fears changing the religious balance could trigger conflict. Everything is just an estimate. About 6 million people live in Lebanon, but 10 to 14 million people of Lebanese descent live abroad, especially in Latin America. Pakistan has a big Lebanese community? No. China? No. But Brazil, Venezuela, Mexico, and Argentina have millions of Lebanese descendants. That's why you can meet a Lebanese person almost anywhere in the world. Lebanon also has the most legally recognized religious diversity in the Middle East, with 18 communities: Sunni, Shia, Christian, Druze, Orthodox, and more. Its history stretches from the Phoenician Empire, the birthplace of the modern alphabet, to Egyptian, Roman, Ottoman, and French rule. You can see the Mohammed Al-Amin Mosque with its Ottoman blue dome, right next to St. George's Orthodox Cathedral in Beirut. Or in Tripoli, or Sidon, Mamluk Islamic architecture, Crusader castles, and Ottoman markets all mix, while the Sursak Museum, or AUB, campus shows strong French influence. 1+. When you visit, you'll likely find it easy to communicate. The average Lebanese speaks 3 to 4 languages: Arabic, French, English, Aval, and sometimes Armenian. Number 4. The country of never-ending festivals. With over 60 major festivals throughout the year, from the mountains to the coast, from ancient villages to modern cities, Lebanon feels like a never-ending carnival. Among them, the Baalbek International Festival is the soul of Lebanese culture. Held among towering Roman columns, stage lights shine on ruins thousands of years old, turning the ancient square into a legendary stage. Audiences don't just watch orchestras or modern dance, they experience them under starry skies, surrounded by relics of the Roman Empire. It's like attending a concert in ancient Rome, but in the Middle East. If you prefer a younger, more modern vibe, Byblos Festival will surprise you. Held right by the Mediterranean, it feels like Coachella or Glastonbury, but with hummus, salty sea air, and waves crashing on ancient walls. International singers, famous DJs, indie bands, all blend into an atmosphere that makes Byblos one of the world's most beautiful music festivals. Lebanese festivals aren't just about music. They're a way for communities to showcase cooking, winemaking, crafts, and traditional costumes. In summer, many small villages host everyday but adorable festivals. Garlic Festival, Wine Festival, Lavender Festival, even Cucumber Festival. People dance, drum, play the oud, and do the dabke, the Lebanese group dance, as if any small reason is enough to turn the whole village into a stage. Unlike many countries that wait for big holidays, Lebanese people have their own philosophy. If today is worth living, today is worth celebrating. So, holidays, wedding season, summer, winter, fall, spring, there's always something going on. Number 3. Coffee culture and coffee fortune-telling. On every street in Beirut, from the old alleys of Tripoli to the charming mountain town of Zaleh, you'll see a familiar sight: Lebanese people drinking coffee. Not to-go coffee, not rush between meetings, but small, strong cups and a clear mindset. Coffee isn't for running, it's for stopping. Lebanon's coffee culture is so old that UNESCO has considered adding Lebanese coffee tradition to the intangible cultural heritage list. And it's easy to see why. Each cup isn't just for staying awake, it's a social ritual, a moment of meditation, a time to chat, or sometimes, a little fortune-telling ceremony. The most popular style is Turkish coffee, but Lebanese people have made it their own. They brew it in a small copper pot called a rakwe, using coffee ground as fine as powder, cooked directly on the stove with water and cardamom. In the Bekaa Valley, coffee is sweet and smooth. In the mountain Druze areas, it's strong, bold, and absolutely unsweetened, just like the people. Because the coffee isn't filtered, there's always a thick, muddy layer at the bottom. And this is where a fun tradition comes in: reading your future in coffee grounds. The ritual is simple, but strangely captivating. After drinking, you turn the cup upside down on the saucer and wait a few minutes to cool. When you lift it, the grounds have spread into mysterious shapes, lines like rivers, circles like moons, dots like footprints. Then, the reader, maybe a wise aunt, a funny friend, or even a regular at the cafe begins to interpret. A circle? New love. A tree? New beginnings. A line across? A challenge is coming. No one knows if it's true. But everyone who tries it agrees. That moment feels like looking deep into yourself, hearing a story you haven't admitted yet. Number 2. A foodie paradise. Ask any local about Lebanese food, and they'll tell you it's some of the best in the world. They might even spend 2 to 3 hours having lunch with family. Lebanese cuisine isn't just food, it's a feast for all the senses, and it might make American visitors question their own taste buds. Here, salad isn't just a side, it can take over the whole table. Take tabbouleh, a wheat salad mixed with parsley, lemon, and olive oil, light but strangely addictive. Interestingly, about 25% of Lebanese people are vegetarian or semi-vegetarian. If you love hummus, get ready. Lebanon and Israel once had a diplomatic spat just to claim the world's largest hummus dish. And Lebanon won, with a dish weighing over 23,000 pounds, more than 10 tons. Even the bread here is unique. Lebanese pita puffs up like a ball when baked. Kids call it flying bread and toss it around before tearing it to eat. Adults use it to wipe plates clean of baba ganoush, labna, or any leftovers. Lebanese people joke that with enough pita and lemonade, they could survive a whole day. If you're a fast food fan, here's a fact. Shawarma, the globally famous street food, got its modern twist in Beirut in the 1940s and 50s. While Turkey is known for doner, Lebanon helped make spinning grilled meat an international star. And if you think barbecue is just steak, you haven't tried kafta and shish taouk, Lebanese grilled dishes that even Texas steak lovers might reconsider. Everything's marinated with cinnamon, nutmeg, and a touch of Mediterranean love. Pita bread is always served hot to wipe up sauces, like baba ganoush and labneh. Some joke that Lebanese can eat anything with just bread and lemonade. But here's what sets Lebanon apart from most of the Arab world. Alcohol isn't banned. You can sip wine right on the street, and Beirut's nightlife is the wildest in the Middle East. Not only that, Lebanon is one of the world's oldest wine regions, even older than France. In the Bekaa Valley, locals still use ancient Phoenician grapes, and there's a 2,000-year-old winery, proving Lebanese people have turned grapes into joy long before Europe started. Number 1. Cost of living in Lebanon. The cost of living in Lebanon today might surprise many Americans. Some things are affordable, but others are unpredictable. A one-bedroom apartment in central Beirut usually costs around $400 to $600 per month, depending on location and quality. If you live outside the center, rent drops to $250 to $350, a very competitive price compared to major U.S. cities. Local food is plentiful and affordable. A full meal at a mid-range restaurant is about $6 to $10, while cooking at home costs just $150 to $200 a month for groceries, including fresh veggies, bread, meat, and specialty Arabica coffee. Utilities, electricity, water, gas, and internet run about $100 to $150 a month. However, since Lebanon faces an energy crisis, many households pay extra for private generators, so living costs can go up a bit in summer. Getting around the city isn't expensive. A typical taxi ride costs $2 to $4, and public buses are just about 50 cents. But public transport isn't very modern. So many people walk or use scooters. In short, with total costs ranging from $800 to $1,200 a month for a single person, Lebanon offers a rich cultural life, great food, and a pleasant climate, but you'll need to be flexible with daily routines. It's an experience unlike anywhere else in the world. With these costs, do you think Lebanon is a place you'd visit or even move to? If yes, comment 1. If not, comment 0. Thanks for your feedback. But before you think about moving or planning a long vacation, there's one thing you can't ignore. Many Western governments, including the US, UK, Australia, Canada, Ireland, Jordan, Arab countries, and even Russia advise their citizens to limit or avoid travel to Lebanon due to political and military security issues. So, you might love Lebanon for its unique charm, but you should also be very cautious. We've just explored the beautiful land of Lebanon together. Thank you for watching today's travel documentary until the end. We hope you'll continue to join us on our next journeys to discover the wonders of the world.